Hey, hey there. Welcome back to my fire. Go ahead, sit down. Have something to eat. I think I got some dried meat here somewhere. Well, if you find it, go ahead, help yourself. You know, there's one thing I always thought about, and it's how lucky we are to be who we are. You have no idea how lucky you are to be who you are and how you are. Positive, negative. Let me break it down for you. You see, when people are born, they inherit genetics from their parents, right? So, for example, if your parents have green eyes, then chances are you will have green eyes. Unless they have some other type of color in their gene pool, in which case if you roll the dice on that, you get what I'm saying. So, if they have a certain hair color, you'll have a certain hair color. If they have a certain nose, you'll have a certain nose. Know what I mean? But I want you to think about this. I want you to think back to your parents. And I want you to go back further than that. So, for example, your father had green eyes, and your mother had brown eyes. Well, you got those green eyes from your father, right? Well, where did he get them from? Let's say, for example, his mother had blue eyes, and his father had brown eyes, which means somewhere in the gene pool was a genetic trait to have green eyes. Let's say his grandfather. Well, that passed on to the dad, but it didn't show. And then it popped up in your father, who then gave it to you. Now for the part that's going to blow your mind. Go back, generation by generation. Green eyes. Every single time a person is born, the dice get rolled. Will this person have green eyes? Odds or evens? Let's see. Oh, we got odds. So yes, that person will have green eyes. But what about the nose? And the hair? Maybe your size? All of that can be traced back hundreds, thousands of years, person to person to person. And eventually that led to you. Now I want you to think about that for a second. Every single person in the chain that made your life passed on a piece of themselves to you. And that combination led to you. But here's the kicker. You don't get to pick what you have. You roll the genetic dice and you get what you get. Now think about that. You, as you are now, rolled perfectly every single time to get what you are. So, for example, my green eyes are, say, a 1 in 4 chance of getting. For example, I am not a scientist, so just bear with me here. Let's say, for example, in order to get green eyes, you have to roll a 4. Every single person in my chain that led to me rolled a 4. Now think of the odds of that. Just think about that for a second. Every single person. And multiply that for your nose, for your hair color, for your cheekbones, for how tall you are. To make you, every single roll had to be perfect. The fact that you exist means that you won the genetic jackpot. Ain't that cool? The very second you're born, you're a winner. Bet you didn't think about that one, did you? And it goes even further. You see, there are some people that will never be born in this life. So, say for example, there's a woman in Canada. Her name is, say, Mary. And there is a man in China named Lee. Imagine if those people never meet in real life. They never had a child together. Whatever genetic markers that they have to pass on, that person will never exist. Ever. That genetic combination will be lost. Because those people never met and never had a child that inherited those traits. So the fact that you exist at all means that every single person that met had to have met in order for you to become what you are. Say, for example, your great times 11 grandfather didn't meet the woman he got with. Instead, he met somebody else. And all those genetics would result in a completely different person. Completely different looks, completely different personality. You are the result of him meeting that specific person at that specific time. And having to roll on the genetic table. So think about that. The fact that you exist is because every single point for thousands of years, through thousands of people, they had to meet. They had to have a child. You had to roll on the genetic dice every single time for every single trait. And the result is you. You are the result of a perfect score. Blows your mind, doesn't it? Like I said, the child that would have been born from that woman in Canada and the man from China, that child will never exist because those particular sets of genetics will never combine to make that child. But you do. You exist, my friend. The very second you're born, you are born from the result of a perfect score. A score that was re-rolled thousands of times. Think of it like this. Flip a coin 1,000 times, and if it lands tails every single time, the result, the reward, is that you're born. And look, you did it. You won. I don't know what that kind of information will mean to you, but I figured I better let you know. Like it or hate it, the fact of the matter is you exist the way you are because everything lined up perfectly. So, do with that information what you will. Sleep tight, friend.